All right, in the next lecture, we're going to be talking about how do I get a vision. I'm sure as a youth leader, as a youth pastor, or any leader for that matter, you might wonder, well, how do I get a vision for my youth ministry? Well, personally, I believe in order for the youth leader or youth pastor to get a vision for their youth ministry, he or she needs to get the heart of God. Get the heartbeat of God for that youth ministry. What is it that God wants to do in your youth ministry? How does he want to use this youth ministry to impact hurting young people? And that's where a practical step is spending time in the presence of God and crying out to God and say, God, what do you want to do in my city with the lives of young people? How can you use me as a youth pastor or a youth leader to impact these young people? What do you want to use our youth ministry to do? And how do you want to use our youth ministry to impact lives of young people? And that's where you spend time in the presence of God and crying out to God and getting that vision for what God wants to do in your youth ministry. Now, once you get direction and purpose from God, it's going to help you to stay focused on what God has called you to do. Because sometimes the crowd can sway us, or different people's ideas and plans and strategies can try to sway us. But once you know you've heard from God and you've got direction from God, it'll help you to stay focused on what God has called you to do as a youth pastor, youth leader, or any leader for that matter. It also eliminates determining our success by comparing ourselves to others or trying to do what every other youth ministry is doing. But our success will be determined by accomplishing what God has us set out to do. What God has set out for us to do. Come on, let's be honest. Sometimes as youth pastors and youth leaders, we can compare our successes to the numbers of other youth ministries, to different things of other youth ministries, the popularity of another youth ministry. But the good thing about getting a vision from God, it helps to eliminate comparing ourselves and trying to do what other youth ministries are doing when maybe God hasn't called you to do that. And it helps you to stay focused because you've heard from God and you know the direction he wants to take your youth ministry. After you get the heartbeat of God for a youth ministry, the next step is to ask yourself, how does this vision fit into my local church? And let's talk about that.